The ratings are in for this week's edition of WWE NXT on the CW network. Chris Jericho is now a two-time Ring of Honor World Champion after defeating Mark Briscoe in a ladder war last night on AEW Dynamite. Kip Sabian has joined the Patriarchy as it's revealed that Christian Cage was the person who attacked Taz in the parking lot several weeks ago. An update on AEW Shockwave as the show continues to be shopped around to networks. An AEW World Tag Team Championship match is set for next week, and if Private Party lose, they have to split up as a tag team. Adam Cole and Roderick Strong going to battle out see faces off against MJF at Full Gear, but not in the way that you think. We've got statements from Vince McMahon after the bombshell lawsuit that was filed last night regarding the Ring Boy scandal of the 1980s. AEW President and CEO Tony Khan meets with London Mayor Sadiq Khan. MVP possibly looking to recruit Ricochet for the Hurt Syndicate. Kyle Fletcher shaves his head in the middle of the ring on AEW Dynamite. And an update on the abrupt finish that some may have saw to WWE NXT this week. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with the ratings for this week's edition of WWE NXT on the CW network. And it's good news for WWE's third brand. This week's WWE NXT was the last one before Halloween Havoc, and it appears NXT fans tuned in to see the developments before the spookiest PLE of the year. According to WrestleNomics, this week's NXT was up 10% from last week with 702,000 overall viewers compared to last week's 639,000. The coveted 18 to 49 demographic tuned in to a 0.16 rating, which is down 11% from last week's 0.18 rating. Now, in terms of the quarter-hour ratings, these come courtesy of WrestleNomics, so shout out to them and be sure to subscribe to their Patreon. The highest rated section overall was the show's opening, while the 18 to 49 demographic showed up midway through the opening match between Damage Control and the Metaphor. For the overall audience, the lowest rated segment of the show was the show closing tag team match, which saw the debut of Zarya, who interrupted the wheel spinning and selection of the NXT Women's North American Champion Kalani Jordan's Halloween Havoc opponent. The 18 to 49 demographic tuned out for most of Obafemi's domination of Luca Crucifino in the middle of the show. As it stands, NXT is down 7% over the last 4 weeks, with a move to the CW not quite energizing the audience in the way some have possibly anticipated. The show is also down 4% compared to this time last year when NXT was still on the USA Network. Of course, when it comes to Halloween Havoc, that will take place on October 27th in Hershey, Pennsylvania. The next big event for NXT after that will be the show's special Wednesday broadcast on November 6th. The show is being moved due to election night coverage on November 5th, and will take place in the ECW Arena, the former ECW Arena that is, now 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, and will be going head-to-head with AEW Dynamite. Speaking of Dynamite, Chris Jericho once again is holding championship gold in All Elite Wrestling. He's now a 9-time world champion. The Learning Tree bested Ring of Honor world champion Mark Briscoe in a ladder war on Wednesday's AEW Dynamite, thanks in no small part to his compatriots Brian Keith and Big Bill. While Rocky Romero ran off Keith, it was Bill who chokeslammed Briscoe through tables at ringside and then carried Jericho up the ladder to grab the title. Briscoe was not only fighting to retain his title, but also to avenge the memory of his late brother Jay, whom Jericho has brought up at every opportunity. It was Briscoe's focus on delivering retribution to Jericho that opened him up to attacks from Keith and Bill that prevented him from grabbing the title at an opportune moment. Briscoe's revenge, though, seemingly will have to wait, as former Never Openweight champion Tomohiro Ishii appeared at the ramp, making it clear that he'll be Jericho's first defense of his second reign with the Ring of Honor World Championship. It's not clear when Jericho's match against Ishii will be, though the upcoming AEW Full Gear pay-per-view in Newark, New Jersey seems like a possible place. Now, the Patriarchy have a brand new member. It gained both a new member and a victim during Dynamite, as a welcoming party of babyfaces awaited the arrival of Jon Moxley and the Blackpool Combat Club. They found themselves disappointed with an SUV pulled up containing Christian Cage and his entourage, as he jeered towards the group about his cash-in contract for the AEW World title. The camera panned to Kip Sabian as he attempted to flee the scene, only to be chased by them through the parking lot and into the ringside area. As that went down, Hook was shown backstage with Renee Paquette pursuing comment. He brushed past her and made it clear he was out for Cage, coming down to the ring and taking out Nick Wayne before stopping by Sabian, allowing Wayne to connect with his finisher on Hook, followed by a kill switch from Christian Cage on his contract case. Sabian then left with the group, showing where his loyalties lie, as Hook himself lay in the ring beaten. Sabian had been feuding with the Patriarchy for months leading into the turn on Wednesday night, having previously lost matches to Nick Wayne both in singles and four-way action on AEW Rampage in September and August respectively. Now, what's the latest when it comes to AEW Shockwave, a possible network show for All Elite Wrestling? Well, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, AEW Shockwave is still being shopped around and isn't confirmed for anywhere just yet. Recently, of course, details emerged that AEW was working on a possible additional show to Dynamite and Collision, which are continuing on WBD. With Rampage off their slate as of now for 2025 and WBD exclusivity no longer a thing, AEW is exploring other possibilities with additional content. Fightful Select has first heard that the possibility of Rampage being shopped around, they heard that in the early summer. However, in recent months, Shockwave has been actively discussed, and AEW reportedly has spoken to various networks. The heavily rumoured landing point is Fox. While Fox has been interested in non-WWE programming wrestling products for quite some time, Fightful have been told that no deal is done as of right now. As of right now, the AEW slate for 2025 includes filming Dynamite, Collision, and Ring of Honor, with Rampage and Battle of the Belts not being planned, and Shockwave still being discussed. Now, going to AEW Dynamite next week, a big tag team title match with huge implications for one tag team. Next week could be the end or just the beginning for Private Party's Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn. They'll be facing the Young Bucks a final time after nearly defeating the AEW Tag Team Champions at Wrestle Dream. But coming up short next week on AEW Dynamite, it could mean possibly it could be the end for the tag team. Zay fought to get the rematch following a trios victory alongside Daniel Garcia in the main event of this week's Dynamite. He got on the mic following the match where Private Party once again pinned the Young Bucks and said that if Matthew and Nicholas Jackson would give them another shot at tag team gold next week and they lost, Private Party would break up forever. While Zay was adamant, as the Bucks agreed, Quinn was less excited, having not exactly been consulted in the decision. The Dynamite Trios match that saw Private Party and Garcia take on the Bucks and TNT champion Jack Perry teetered on an all-out brawl throughout the bout. To end the match, Zay blocked a TK driver from the Bucks, who then countered a silly string. Zay countered once again and rolled up Matthew Jackson for the victory. Following Zay's post-match challenge, the Blackpool Combat Club's truck pulled up backstage and was seen on the Tron, and much of the AEW roster was waiting for a fight outside. It was only Marina Shafir to appear, however, and the rest of the BCC attacked the babyfaces in the middle of the ring from behind. John Moxley appeared dressed all in black, and he headed down the ramp with Chuck Taylor. Castagnoli put a chair around Taylor's neck and stomped on it, bringing out the roster who had all been waiting, as well as Taylor's best friend Orange Cassidy, who had sat fuming behind his injured friend to end the show as the BCC retreated. Now, who's going to be facing MJF at Full Gear? Well, there's going to be a bit of an interesting way to get to this one. MJF made a unique deal with Adam Cole and the Undisputed Kingdom during Dynamite, looking to address his feud with the Wolf of Wrestling. Cole took to the microphone, only to be interrupted by a bellowing Roderick Strong, backed by Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. Strong said he knew Cole had something to say about MJF, but everyone already knew what they needed to know about him. Taven and Bennett chimed in, recalling the formation of their group during the Devil storyline, and saying that while MJF may believe it was started for him, the Undisputed Kingdom was started by them coming together, and it will end the same way. Strong said that he was proud of Cole for recovering from his injury and coming back to take down MJF, but he wants to be the first in line to face him. Cole then called their rival out, but MJF appeared via the Tron, agreeing to face one of them at Full Gear, whoever can string 3 consecutive victories first. Preserving their united front, Cole and Strong shook hands to signal fair competition, while Kyle O'Reilly was shown to be watching backstage. Following a dominant trio's victory for the House of Black later on, Buddy Matthews called out Cole and was confronted by him in a subsequent backstage segment. Matthews said that he did it to make a point and prove that Cole was fragile, so it's a fair guess that he will be the first of Cole's attempted gauntlet. Now, a bit of an update here when it comes to the bombshell lawsuit that was filed yesterday regarding the ring boy scandal of the 1980s. Vince McMahon's attorney has issued a statement following the news of a sexual assault lawsuit filed by former ring boys against the former WWE chairman, his wife, Linda McMahon, as well as TKO and WWE itself. The civil lawsuit was filed on behalf of 5 anonymous ring boys who are accusing former WWE ring announcer Mel Phillips of sexual abuse against minors, which they allege the McMahons were aware of but did nothing to stop. Quote, more than 30 years ago, the columnist Phil Mushnick tried to make headlines with these same false allegations, Mr. McMahon's lawyer said in a statement. Those allegations were never proven and ultimately became the subject of a defamation lawsuit against Mr. Mushnick. The negligence claims against Mr. McMahon that were asserted today rely on the same absurd, defamatory and utterly meritless statements by Mr. Mushnick. We will vigorously defend Mr. McMahon and are confident the court will find that these claims are untrue and unfounded, end quote. Mushnick has previously written extensively about the alleged scandal, which was a major chapter in the Netflix docuseries Mr. McMahon, including an article titled Sex Lies and the WWF for the New York Post. The so-called ring boy scandal came to light in the 1990s when allegations of sexual abuse were made against Phillips, but the accusers ultimately agreed to settle with WWE. Phillips, former wrestler Terry Garvin, and Pat Patterson were let go over the allegations, though Patterson was brought back. A press release issued Wednesday said the FBI had uncovered at least 10 individuals who were victims of Phillips who died in 2012. The lawsuit filed by the former WWE employee Janelle Grant against McMahon, accusing him of sex trafficking, is credited with bringing more attention to his actions, inspiring others like the 5 ring boys to come forward. Now, switching gears here to AEW. Now, we heard earlier this year, of course, that WWE President Nick Khan, as well as the Chief Content Officer of WWE, Paul Triple H Levesque, met with Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London, about the possibility of bringing a WrestleMania to the city. Well, now we've seen AEW President and CEO Tony Khan meet with the same mayor. After having previously been pictured alongside WWE executives Paul Levesque and Nick Khan, with word that their meeting was centered on London hosting a WrestleMania event, now another double Khan photo has dropped. This time, however, it was AEW's Tony Khan meeting with the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. Tony Khan wrote the following on Twitter, saying, quote, "Thank you all who watch AEW. It was great to see the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, and I was honoured to stand with him to unveil the AEW World Championship belt with special Fulham FC side plates. See you all tonight for Wednesday night's AEW Dynamite moments from now." Ricochet, could he be joining the Hurt Syndicate? Well, maybe MVP has made him an offer. While MVP has already hand-delivered business cards to Swerve Strickland, Mercedes Moné, and The Acclaimed, amongst others, now add another name to the list of potential new faction members. In a backstage segment with Renee Paquette, Ricochet addressed his recent appearance at Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling's Forged in Excellence, where he surprised Konosuke Takeshita. Reminded Paquette that he meant what he said, where he could pop up anywhere. He seemingly enjoyed that freedom, but before he could elaborate further, the pair were interrupted. MVP walked into the scene accompanied by Shelton Benjamin, who had just won his match against Sammy Guevara. While MVP acknowledged their history, of course, previously Ricochet was a pitched member of the Hurt Business in WWE, he also made note that in a new company, it could be a new start. Extending his business card to Ricochet, it was taken silently before the pair of Benjamin and MVP exited the scene. Kyle Fletcher is sporting a new look in All Elite Wrestling. After the first match of the night saw the aforementioned Benjamin defeat Guevara, the next in-ring segment was an interview with Don Callis and Kyle Fletcher. Fletcher spoke for several minutes about how he wants to prove he's nothing like Will Ospreay and concluded by taking an extra step to prove that assertion. When Fletcher finished talking, he shaved his hair off just to prove that he really is nothing like Ospreay. A date for a match between the two has yet to be confirmed, but it looks inevitable at this point. Of course, Fletcher betrayed Ospreay at AEW Wrestle Dream when he helped Callis assist Konosuke Takeshita in becoming the new international champion, defeating Ospreay and Ricochet in a three-way match with Callis's and Fletcher's help. This seemingly has led to a new Don Callis family member lineup and now consists of Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, Lance Archer, and Brian Cage, with Archer and Cage teaming up to win a tag match on last night's AEW Dynamite as well after Fletcher's segment. And finally, there was a bit of an abrupt finish for some when it comes to NXT this past week. Now, at the this week's edition of NXT, as it drew to a close, Zarya, formerly known as Delta, made her NXT debut. However, many did not see this moment as the show was cut from the air in some cases. Fightful Select's Corey Brennan has learned that NXT was scheduled to run up until 10 p.m. Eastern exactly and signed off the air after much pre-planning from those on the brand to hit their mark. Producers became aware that the Orlando CW CW affiliate feed was operating on a 20-second delay and was many CW affiliate feeds that cut off the end of the program after officials had previously confirmed with satellite providers the show would stay on the air until 10 p.m. Officials in NXT were said to be very upset with the show being cut early, with one NXT source noting that, quote, everyone who runs or has a say in the show was pissed, end quote. Sources that Sean Ross Sapp spoke to said that these problems had been anticipated in the weeks leading up to the CW debut, as they have hard outs to get off the air. Previously, NXT, of course, had a lot more flexibility on the USA Network, but it's a similar situation to what WWE SmackDown had on Fox, where they had to get off the air by 10 p.m. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video. Click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.